What is this? Is an interview?
Yeah. This is like a podcast.
Because they have stake in the game.
Tinder, but with the decisions. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
What a dreadful future.
What is decision making?
I think it would be the hand that opens the wallet.
Cloth plus insurance.
Child this cloth, bad cloth, cloth. It's a very knowledgeable
Average
person.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Data Analyze podcast. I'm Ivan, CEO of Data Analyze. We are a decision intelligence service provider and help our customers to make better decisions. Again and again, we are going to talk about decision making and how should decisions actually be made. Today, we have a super guest, Valeriy Babushkin. He has seen decision making systems from many different angles: data science, machine learning, and analytics across industries such as e-commerce, social media, crypto, and energy. He has worked at Meta, blockchain.com, Alibaba, and now BP, like British Petroleum. He's a Kaggle Grandmaster, right? He wrote a book on machine learning system design, and the list goes on. Welcome to the Data Analyze podcast, Valeriy.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tell us about yourself. Have I covered everything above?
I think pretty much you've covered it. The name is correct, which is already a high baseline, and the companies I worked are also correct. One thing to add that I'm Kaggle Competitions Grandmaster.
Oh, okay. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is that the way I see that, that's only a proper grandmaster can bet Kaggle. It can also become, so the Kaggle is a platform for machine learning competitions. It was acquired by Google 10 years ago, has millions of users, and there are around, I think, 400 competitions grandmasters overall over like last 15 years. So to become one, you just need to win 5 gold medals. But what's the distinction is that you can also become, I think, discussion grandmaster.
Are you top 1,000 or something?
Well, given that there are only 400, well, my highest was top 23. Out of active competitors. At that time, we had, I think, 120,000 active competitors. So I've never made it top 10. But again, there are overall just, I think, around 400 competitions grandmaster. So that's a big difference, but that's personal.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So tell us about like yourself now. What do you do professionally? What's your like passion? Like maybe science passion?
Well, I do 2 things. Obviously, I have my day job, a proper job, working at BP. I'm leading data analytics and AI team in one of the 3 BP's business units. The unit is called Customers and Products. And I do the team does everything from data infrastructure, ingestion pipelines, and up to analytics decisions, which probably we'll be discussing today without the context of BP though, and AI applications and improvements. So my passion is, or my second activity is that I teach people how to design machine learning / AI systems. I wrote and published the book with a friend of mine on the topic, and to stay relevant, that forces me to learn a lot. So these are the 2 things I'm doing, and my overall field of interest is machine learning. And to an extent, you can say agentic AI, but I just see agentic AI as an extension of machine learning with very interesting applications.
How long did it take to write a book? I always wanted to write one.
So before writing the book, you need to have a book. So I had the book ready in me. I just needed to put it on paper, right? So the book was already kind of condensed.
Like summary of your experiences.
Yes. So as soon as you have an outline, as soon as you have a structure, the whole process took about 6 to 12 months. Again, there was a lot of back and forth with the publisher, because publisher to an extent forcing you to write not a mediocre but an average book, because so publisher saying, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, our audience looking for that, looking for that. So it's kind of trying to heighten the floor, but also to reduce the ceiling.
Okay.
And we thought, and we were pretty convinced that we understand much better
Right.
what is the right book on machine learning system design. You don't have
Okay.
that many books on the topic.
Okay.
But these back and forth took a lot of time. So
Right.
all in all, maybe 6 months, but the period itself took probably more than a year.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. So if you have a link, please
Yeah,
share
I'll
it.
share
So
a
yeah,
link on
yeah, yeah.
Amazon.
That's cool.
It's actually a good book. It's been translated in 2 additional languages
Okay.
already.
Yeah. 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 Cool. Yeah. We'll do. We'll do. We'll do.
Yeah,
We'll
it's a
do.
very cool cover, that's true.
So let's jump into the decision
Okay.
science, decision making. So I have a slightly provocative question. What is better, a quick decision that is not very effective, or a slower one that turns out to be more effective?
In Bayesian statistics, there
Okay.
is a term called regret. Well, I haven't been working with Bayesian statistics for a long time because
Okay.
it has its flaws. But the concept is that if you fix specific set of parameters, you can, with high level of confidence, guarantee that your overall regret
Mm-hmm.
won't be higher than X.
Okay. This is just a question of probability, right?
And that's in a sense, but regret obviously depends on the of size of the decision.
Okay.
If decision is whether I would like to buy a Coca-Cola or Sprite,
Okay.
that's probably not as serious decision as where I want to invest $110 billion.
Right. Let's define regret here.
So regret is a potential loss of the wrong decision.
Okay.
I tend
This is amount multiplied to the probability of
yeah,
loss.
but yeah, you can. That's a slight difference with between expected loss and regret, but just
Okay.
to make it things simple, we can say that yeah, regret is expected loss, but the regret you set up on the level of all your decisions.
Okay.
But again, I'm not answering your question, right? Because your question was what is better. So I think that for low regret, quicker decisions are probably better because amount of regret you might have of not making a decision
Yeah.
might be much higher than compared to again it depends on the context, right? So we can simulate a situation
Depends on the
where
amount of
yeah,
the
this,
of the decision.
but if it's a low regret, move quickly. And Meta had a motto when it was a Facebook: move fast and break things.
Regret fast.
Move, yeah. So, but it's
And less.
yeah,
Regret less and fast.
but obviously, if it's something very important, you probably want
Right.
to invest. Again, there is law of diminishing return because the question is, okay, how much
Okay.
would I increase my confidence if I invest twice as much time?
Yeah.
And then
That's
again
true.
and again and again. So that's there's a fine line.
Right. Right. It's very close to what we have in our discovery because we work mostly with the companies between 50 and 1,000 people, and the hugest regret they have based on our experience and when they delay decisions. So when you delay, let's say, 10 small decisions, then you need to make one middle-sized decision because this is a summary of small decisions.
Yeah, and the question
And
is how much you are
yeah,
behind those who
yeah,
decided not to delay.
yeah. But I'm aligned, so I'm the faster decision made usually in general.
Well, ideally, I would like to be able to make decision fast,
Yeah,
with a high level of confidence, with a high level
yeah,
of sensitivity, right? But there is always there has to be a trade-off. Which the good thing is that
right.
beforehand we usually can set up all these and decide, okay, this is the level of confidence, this
Right.
is
Yeah,
etc.
that's completely the same. So we have the same like summary based on what all project that we have. Another question. Like, I love this question. If a company were a person, this is a question that I always ask to myself, and I always ask to to our team. So, if a company were a person, what would decisions be?
I think it would be the hand that opens the wallet, because eventually, decision is an allocation of resources.
Okay.
And if you decide not to do anything, it's again, you just decided to keep the resource allocation as is.
That's
If
fine.
you have infinitely large amount of resources, no decisions are needed. You have everything, right? Like
Yeah.
nothing to do. And so if decision is an allocation of resources, then if you're a human, making decision is a hand that
Yeah.
opens the wallet.
Right. Right. And this is a definition of the decision. So this is a allocating of the resources, right?
Yeah, it's
How do you
allocating
yeah.
resources, and resources are always a constraint.
Okay.
So you can't imagine the situation where there are no constraints. So it's allocating resources under constraint.
Nice. And what is decision making?
Well, the decision making, if decision is allocating resources, so a decision making is a process where you set boundaries, because no matter so
Conditions, basically conditions.
whenever you make a decision, there are different trade-offs, right?
Right.
How fast you want to make a decision,
Right.
how confident you want to be making a decision, but usually the more confident you want to be, the longer it takes.
Yeah. Like
and
amount of
and
loss and or profit.
and what magnitude of change you want to be able to measure.
Okay.
So the smaller the effect you want to measure,
Okay.
and the more confident you want to be, the longer it takes.
Okay.
So the decision-making process is setting up these boundaries or constraints, and then allocating resources according to, and then having a process which helps you to estimate
Okay.
the potential reward
Okay.
with the fixed boundaries you set up. So you have boundaries, you have a process which helps you to estimate the potential outcomes, and then you allocate resources based on this.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Now, decision quality. How does one define a good and a bad decision?
Well, I don't think you can define
As a part of the process,
that's
you can define.
no, as
You
a
can
part.
make it.
Okay, let's say we're not talking here about the judgment. We're talking about
Yeah.
decision, because
Yeah.
you might have a bad judgment, good judgment. So
Yeah. That's another one.
so, but let's say that is good decision is a decision that follows the process and it meets guarantees that were set up at the very beginning. So let's say, and the thing is here. I think it might be a bit opaque for our audience. So the problem is that making a decision and seeing its results is to an extent a probabilistic process, right? You're
Right.
confident to the specific degree.
Right.
Let's say you're confident if you see specific results, and then you apply this decision to the wider, whatever it is, audience or market and whatnot, you will actually see some changes. So you can be confident up to the specific point.
Right.
So that means if you can, and there is a probability, there is always a chance that you were wrong.
Okay.
But being wrong is not a problem. Let's say if you were confident, if you had a level of confidence 95%,
Okay.
and
It's part of the part. Yeah.
and you made 100 decisions,
Okay.
and it turned out you were wrong 20 times, that's a bad pro. Something is wrong,
Yeah.
because that means your level of confidence is not adequate.
Okay.
Because
And it means that the process.
if you made 100 decisions, 20 of them turn out to be wrong, but your confidence was 95%, no, something is wrong. Like it's 80% success, your confidence was 95. Either something is not
Yeah.
matching. But if you made 100 decisions,
Okay.
and let's say 5 of them turn out to be wrong, and your confidence was 95%,
Right.
again, I'm simplifying that means you were within your boundaries. Your
Right.
decision process was good.
Okay.
Now again, of course, we can make this more complex,
Right.
because okay, what if it's a bad decision? What is a judgment, right? Now,
Right.
might be you tell me, okay, Valerie, now define a judgment.
Yeah. My wife, when I ask her, she's a psychologist, and I ask her, what is the bad decision or good decision, right? She told me, I love the answer. So she told me that there is no bad decisions in the world, because right now, in the particular situation, with the information that you have right now, and with the environment that you have around you and inside you. So you just make a decision,
But
and it's always right now, maybe, but it's always right. It's always the best decision that you can make right now.
okay, that's an easy thing to argue with a person who's not in the room.
Yeah.
But I don't like that because it's too deterministic. It
Yeah,
doesn't provide you any free will, because the next step to
it's
say
not
like
manageable, right?
everything is set up, everything is fixed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. That's no. That's cool. But I love the concept. Then that.
I have this similar theory. My theory is that whatever you're doing right now is the most important thing for you in the world.
Yeah,
Because
and basically you just do whatever you can, like the best you can, right? So and all decisions.
But
you
then
do.
it turns out all the time we do the most important thing and then making the best decision. So
Yeah,
that's
I think the primary concept behind this concept of the right decisions is that it doesn't make sense to regret about the bad decisions. So
well, it doesn't make sense to regret, but it probably does make sense to analyze and to decide what can you change.
Yeah,
Because then if you just
should be
follow this
effective.
line, there is doesn't matter what you've done, no reason to improve the process. But there is.
Yeah, and this is a decision-making process. It should have a feedback loop. Yeah, so to help you to make decisions better and better and better from time to time. Cool, love it. What are the fundamental ingredients of a good decision, regardless of industry? What's the core of it from your perspective?
That's a good one. I'm trying to have a generic view. I think the fundamental ingredient is ability to measure, because if you can't measure, right?
Yeah.
We already discussed that allocation of resources. So allocation of resources to achieve specific goals.
I love your concept of the decision-making process. So it's basically you should set up the boundaries, right? This is the best.
Yes. So again, the main ingredient, if you can't measure, done, right?
Oh, if you can't measure, so can we define it? Can we say if you can't measure, it means that it's not a decision?
No,
it's an assumption,
because again, think about this in the to the limit. If you can't measure, let's say you've done something, you don't know the results of that, you can't assume would it be better, would it be worse, like what happened, literally. So in a sense, if you can't measure, nothing happened.
Yeah, it's
because you can't measure, you can't disprove that's already been done.
Yeah. Can we define it? So we have a good decisions, we have a bad decisions, we have no decision. We have a no decision.
Let's imagine a situation. You tell me, let's do something. I ask, okay, how would we measure that we achieve that? You tell me, I can't measure it, and then I can tell you, oh, I've done it already. It's delivered. Mm-hmm. You can't prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Because you can't measure it.
Okay, you can track the process, but not the results.
So no. Like if you can't measure, I would just tell you it's done.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to measure. Measuring is not always a quantity. Sometimes it's just a quality. Yes, no, good, bad, but there are different ways to measure that.
Let's define it somehow, because I think it's a very important definition. So if we are not able to measure it, it's not a decision. It's what? It's assumption. It's
wishful thinking.
Okay, it's just a wish.
Yeah, if you can't measure, it's like
okay.
It's just an idea.
For example, let's. What's the weirdest case without you have in your experience without the ability
I'll
to
give
track?
You an example. Productivity gains from AI.
Okay.
CEO of Microsoft 3 years ago mentioned that we have 30% increase in productivity due to AI. 30% is a lot, right?
Yeah, that's huge for the Microsoft.
So that means two things. Either they started to churn 30% more products.
Churn launch?
No, like launch, yes. Like producing, and their revenue increased.
Or they
reduced their bottom line by 30%. Neither happened.
Maybe stocks is growing.
No. Again, it's growing, but every other hyperscaler
I do agree.
So again, how you even measure productivity of software engineers? We are notoriously bad in measuring productivity of software engineers, right? Okay. It was a wish. Well, of course, especially. I recall that it was mentioned by him in October 2023.
Okay.
Come on, like
Okay.
So that's one example. Measuring productivity is very hard until it's actually like number or amount of dollars produced per hour per person. Okay, but that's revenue, right?
Right. Yeah, it's easy to track. Yeah.
But then all this talks about productivity, and whenever I see AI system which is increasing productivity can't be an end goal. Productivity is
Basically, productivity. This is just a ratio of the income versus
yes,
cost. So, but
productivity means either the
yeah,
top
this is
line goes
yeah,
up or bottom line
right.
goes down. That's
Yeah.
it.
So it can be applied for the product
Yeah, okay.
or for
Or a software engineer can just have now 3 hours long lunch instead of 1 hour long lunch. Okay, their productivity increased, but so what? So
right.
that's why. But again, how would you even measure productivity of?
Yeah, that's a good point. Cool. Let's talk about frameworks of decision making. And do you so you work in a different companies, and maybe you can compare. You can share your vision of how inside different companies people make decision differently.
We can start from a basic four layers analytical cake, which is like a huge platitude, but why not to use it?
Okay.
So if we come back to analytics, analytics is essentially answering four questions. What has happened, which is relatively easy to answer,
Yeah, like a
but
signal.
relatively easy to answer. Again, you need to be able to collect data to process it.
Right. So this
Like,
is a
but whenever people are opening dashboards or reports, it's like quarterly reports,
right.
annual reports.
Right.
What happened?
Right. So like let's say we have a drop in sales in 5% month by month.
Yeah. So the second is much harder to answer. Why?
Okay.
Why did this happen?
Okay.
Much harder to answer. Now the third one
What to do?
is what will happen, because everybody wants to know. Okay, what will happen?
Yeah.
If you know what will happen, you can make a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fourth one is basically
What to do with all the stuff?
conjecture of third and second. What do I need to do to change the future? Anywhere I would like this to
Yeah.
happen. What needs to be done so things would happen the way I want them to happen?
Right.
Now, an analytical or decision-making process is basically if we think about that, all these stages. At each stage, you make decisions. So even if you can collect the data and see what happened,
Okay.
it already helps you to make a decision, which is again, decision is
Right.
allocation of resources, right? Okay, my sales increased by 5% or decreased by 5%. Of course, probably the next question would be why. So but every next question helps me to make a better decision, where better
Right.
means the potential reward
Right.
for my decision, which is resource allocation, is higher.
Right.
Or my regret is lower, right? Because you can operate in two levels. You can try to maximize reward.
Right.
You can try to minimize regret.
Yeah.
And so. But the original question
Was different like difference between different companies you worked for? Like you work for Alibaba, Meta, British Petroleum. Do they follow the same concept of decision, or there are some speed of decision like
look, it's culture. It's strategy for breakfast, right?
okay.
That's what they say. So. These companies, they have different culture, very different culture. They are in very different segments or areas of economy.
Yeah.
They hire very different people, have very different values within the company. So, for example, Meta, every person Meta is very autonomous. You can do whatever you want to an extent, but you'll be judged every 6 months during a performance review based on what impact you've delivered.
Okay.
And of course, you have a huge quantities of data. You have a good infrastructure, and
Okay.
so you have a highly paid autonomous people
Right.
who know that based on their impact,
Okay.
they might be either rewarded
Okay.
or they might lose their job.
Right.
So it creates specific environment,
Okay.
right? So, for example, blockchain.com was a very small team of 300 people. Many of them were very into crypto, which is not surprising. And this is a startup, high autonomy, very low level of hierarchy, very easy to speak with everybody. So which also creates that
Yeah.
specific things. Uh, Alibaba is e-commerce. So
Right.
e-commerce and every retail is a very thin margin business.
Right.
So for example, one
Highly
of the
transactional.
Amazon core principles is being frugal,
Right.
because I think, I'm not sure, but we need to double check. I think that AWS profit is
Oh, yeah,
equal
yeah, yeah, to
is
the to the
equal
to the
to
primary
the
business.
profit of the
Primary
rest
business.
of Amazon, while the
Right.
revenue of the like Amazon as a retailer is much higher. They started to increase their profit margin by introducing ads.
Right.
But that's not a retail business now,
Yeah,
right?
this
So
is
it's
completely
so
another
the
one.
retail
That's
business is
fun.
very low margin, which also creates a specific culture, because in retail and a thin margin business you need constantly strive to for small increases, because let's say if your margin is 30%, 0.22% increase in revenue might be nothing for you, but if your margin is 2%, well, 0.2% might be
Yeah, yeah,
10% of
yeah.
your
It's
profit
huge.
increase.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
that's
might be very noticeable and
that's cool.
significant. So all these companies are very different, just because it's even doesn't make sense to compare them.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's different sectors, different margins, different businesses, different inertia,
Right.
etc. So, like if you have a physical asset business like energy, and comparing the two ads business that Meta has, comparing to two-side marketplace from Alibaba,
Yeah.
it's very different, very different.
Nice. 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 Love it. Let's zoom in into the companies with the number of team members between 100 and 1000K, because I'm sure that the large guys, they know what to do, but our customers and our audience is more from the growing businesses or from the middle-sized businesses. And let's try to, let's say you are head of data, VP of data in the company, which is starting to build decision intelligence inside the company. And they have something in Excel, I'm sure, but let's just bring some maybe 5 milestones, largely what they should go through, and maybe then we can dive deep into the best practices, how to follow.
Well, obviously they need to have their data foundations.
Right.
This is another platitude I just expressed. You mentioned they have something in Excel, right?
Yeah, let's say yeah.
The very important thing is that your data estate, your data pipelines, they need to be reliable, reproducible, and not dependent on single person. So
What do you mean by reproducible?
that means that if you want to collect the data or see what happened a year in a specific point of time, you can do that with the same amount of effort or even less. The first time you might do something, and then you
Okay.
can just reuse.
Okay, that's cool.
So it does, if it's scattered around in different Excels, something is
Right.
very wrong.
Right.
So you'd like to have one single source of truth. You probably need to have if I were VP of data or whatever in the company, I would start from data warehouse, whatever you call it. Like
Yeah, data lake, data
we're not
warehouse.
talking about architecture, whether lake house or relational
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
database. Again, depends on your business. Might be the relational database is all you need.
It can be Airtable.
Yeah, but it needs to be something
Scalable. Okay.
which is well scalable to an extent. Again,
Yeah.
you need to be able to understand. You're probably not doing the second Facebook, so it doesn't have to be scalable for 3 billions of users being
Yeah.
online. But you would like to have reliable access to the data,
Right.
and you need to be able to describe what. So as soon as you work with data, you always will hear our data quality is bad.
Okay. But it means that there are discrepancies,
That, that,
definitions.
that's a good.
What usually
What
what
does
does
it
it
mean
usually
to
means?
be bad? Is it bad an ingestion point? Is it like just corrupted? Is it bad because there are duplication? Is it bad because some post processing needed to be done, or is it bad because we have two sources? So you need to define wherever you hear bad quality of data, what is meant, and fix that,
Yeah, yeah.
and
You mean like aligned inside the company how we
Yes,
call things,
yes.
right?
What we can call
And
that
how we calculate,
master data management, or
like
to have a specific
metrics
data
map,
models, matrix map,
yeah,
matrix view.
data, like metrics pyramid,
That's like a combination. So you have first you have
data,
common data model, then matrix hierarchy or matrix view or matrix definition is the next layer, right?
right,
So you probably, before you define what is a revenue, you want to ensure that your sales are not duplicated,
right,
right? Because if you define your revenue correctly, but you have for some reason a bug and ingestion and
yeah,
you duplicated your sales, not very good.
yeah, not good, not good.
Because again, if the first point before making any decisions to see what happened,
Yeah,
because well, can you make a decision without knowing what happened? Yeah, sure, because we just described that making a
yeah,
decision is allocating resources,
yeah, yeah,
but you probably will be allocating your resources in a more efficient way
yeah, for sure.
if you know at least what happened. So a proper data
Right,
storage and
and definitions.
and pipelines. So not relying on this person extracted the data, wrote the script. So everything needs to be kind of pipelined. I don't know if you can use this word, or
No, no, no.
platform is.
Like scalable. It's a pipeline.
It has to be organized. One source of truth. If you
Yeah, yeah,
want
yeah.
this data, you know where to go. If this is built, you know how
Right.
to check what
That's
code is doing that.
that's so true because like the largest like bottleneck that we have when we do project like this, data warehousing and decision making stuff, is the funniest thing that in the sometime in the 90% of the cases, people define sales in the company in a different
In a
ways.
different way, and then you compare
Sales,
their
very
sales. Yeah.
general and important metric.
Yes.
So sales team, marketing team, board, and like product people can define it from the point of
Will define it most
yeah,
probably.
yeah. We'll define. Usually, they define differently.
So that's why the common definition of metric view or metric.
Okay, data. Let's say warehousing lakes definitions layer, right?
Yes.
Next one, what?
So let's say you have data layer, you have pipelines which moves this data to
Yeah.
the storage and moves
Yeah.
it from the storage to whatever marks
Right.
you need. Definition how this data is processed, which is a metric definition.
Okay.
And then now we can start allocating resources
Okay.
based on this data. So we need to define how do we make a decision.
Right.
Maybe but there are different ways to make a decision. Maybe you just call the what Ronica Harvey mentioned in his book is hippo highest paid person,
Okay.
and the highest paid person is making a decision.
Okay.
Which again we do that. Or you'd like to say, okay, maybe in some cases we do decisions like that. In other cases, if it's higher than this, we need to run the specific process.
Okay. Yeah. Usually, it's like we have usually when we do such kind of project, we define at least 3 categories of decision based on the amount of the loss or
Yes,
value.
or regret.
So like operational or regret, yeah. I like operational one, middle one, and strategic ones. So yeah, that's cool. And you mean like if you need to make a strategic decision, this can be made only by experienced and very high, like responsible person.
To an extent, yeah. Like, what's the process of us allocating resources?
Right.
Whether it's stage
Yeah.
gates or,
Right,
or like,
right.
do we need to run an
It
A/B
need-
test or?
I think that's and here we have very important point that every decision should be evaluated before it's made.
Because we don't have a measurement.
Yeah.
How
But
would
if it's made, so we can make a decision. If it's evaluated somehow.
Again, before you are allocating resources, you probably make sense to ask yourself, why do I do that?
Yeah. What's the value of loss or
yeah, what do you expect to change? So what metrics do you expect to move? How would I measure them?
yeah. Okay. So let's finalize it. This question. So technically, data warehouse, layers of metrics, some process of the decision making. What technically do we need? Also like dashboarding layer. Or
But
something.
the dashboarding layer is just a way to represent that. You may represent via dashboards. You might create Streamlit apps. You might use whatever you want.
Claude.
So that's like
Okay.
up to you. Maybe you can read directly from DataMart. Maybe
Yeah,
that's the
you
way.
can use SQL and just if you have a technical. Cool. Okay, that's cool.
But measurement is very important. You can't measure.
That's cool. Yeah, that's love it. Yeah, I love that. If you not able to evaluate it from one side, and if you're not able to measure it, this is not a decision. This is wishful thinking. That's cool. That's cool. What signals tell us that the company needs to rethink its decision-making model? Have you ever seen the companies with a I don't like saying bad, but decision-making model, but
I've seen.
okay.
I've seen companies doing wrong decisions. Again, it's much easier to have a broken process if you're not if you don't measure and evaluate.
Okay, so if you don't measure, so
So if you, let's say, imagine
you
if
know
you see,
you know the person that you mean, like type of persons who say business is not a number. This is just a
a
like a
vibe.
vibe or not vibe. It's not. It's art. Yeah. Decision making is not about data. It's about art.
If you can't, it all drills down to what is your feedback loop to see the results
Right.
of your
That's
decisions, right?
yeah.
If you do something, oh, we'll see results in 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's cool.
okay, okay. By the time 10 years, many things might change, right? So
Okay.
it's like this medieval hero from East, Hodja Nasruddin, who said who promised once that he will teach donkey to speak,
That's fine.
and received a bag of golden coins, and then his wife said, like, are you crazy? Like, you would never
Okay.
teach this donkey to speak. And he said, don't worry, in 10 years either I
Yeah.
or the
Yeah. Or
king or the donkey
yeah. 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 Yeah.
eventually will die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's funny.
so again, it all drills down. So I've seen companies with a bad culture, and it all
Yeah.
drills
Let's
down
go
to the
back.
either lack of accountability or
Accountability, like personal accountability.
lack of measurement,
Okay.
which are actually very two connected
To
things.
the accountability. So
Yeah.
yeah, you should be. Yeah, in the perfect case, you should be accountable as a manager, at least, for the at least one metric in the business.
Again, it's okay to have failed whatever it is,
But it's not okay
features,
to not to
initiatives.
count
Yes.
count, right?
Yeah, and you see, it's to an extent complicated because I, for example, have a theory that the best product managers, for example, have a much higher failure rate than average. Why? Because what I've seen many times in the company, if you have two products, one of them is like no matter what you do, it will live. It's like has a good product market fit. You just need to
Yeah,
maintain that. And another one is experimental with a high risk of failure, but a
yeah,
high reward in case of
right.
success. Where would you allocate your best PM?
Yeah, that's
Okay, where is the and
okay. Totally.
essentially, so it's a bit nuanced, but again, you need to be able to measure, and you need to have accountability. If you don't have these two, that's a recipe for having a bad decision making process. Because if you don't have accountability and can't measure, you don't have incentives. You always need to have incentives, right? If it's your own business, of course you have an incentive,
Yeah,
but you can measure how well your business is doing, and you have accountability because it's your business. But if you don't have built-in incentives for that, like for example in Meta, which we discussed like 10 minutes ago, you have performance review. You have to show your impact. Based on your impact, your
and
total.
this is your responsibility in Meta
Yeah.
to present and to prove
Yeah,
your
to show
impact.
your impact, to prove it. Well, you do that together with your manager, so the good
Right.
manager helps you, the okay manager doesn't harm you, uh, and
Oh,
but
that's
it
interesting.
can severely affect your income. It's literally at the higher levels, your total compensation based on your performance review results might fluctuate between, let's say, 30% of your expected to 300. That's a huge,
Yeah,
yeah.
huge gap. Huge gap. That's interesting. I love the point that accountability first. If you are responsibility first, right? So if you're responsible for the part of the business, and if you're a good manager, you should to start tracking and counting stuff that you're responsible for and accountable for. And this is what leads to the all data stuff that we are talking about, right? That's I've never thought about this like from this perspective. So accountability and responsibility first, and then all the rest of the second. Cool, love it. Who should be responsible for building a decision-making system within a small business, like let's say from 100 to 1,000K?
It's not very small
1,000.
business already. It's a good growing business. Well, it really depends. It might be what our titles are there? VP of Operations, maybe VP of Data. You're big enough to have VP of Data. Well, ideally, if you're big enough, you need to have specific people doing that. That's a
Right.
VP of Data.
And now it's for the most markets legally
Binding.
you should have, you have to have.
But I think that data and operations are connected a lot. So either it's chief operational officer or chief data officer, whatever you call this person, VP of Data Analytics and AI, CDO. Maybe you have VP of Engineering who combines both these roles, and then it branches down. But probably given how much is around the data, and I can imagine companies without engineering department. It's much harder to imagine a company without the data department.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So
okay, cool.
And 100,000 is a lot, and you don't need a huge team. Like the blockchain.com was a heavily data related business. The whole data team, including infrastructure, data infrastructure, machine learning infrastructure, data analysts, data scientists, applications, people working on anti-fraud, people working with compliance and providing them reports, was 40 people.
Okay.
It was 40 people out of 300, so it was noticeable chunk of the company.
Yeah, that's huge. 40 people from 300.
Yes.
That's a lot. That's more than 10%.
It's a very data related.
But this kind of business. And what is the perfect ratio like in the company? How many data people do you need in the company versus the total headcount?
It depends how much you can pay. There is a level of correlation between how much you can pay and what people you can hire, even to an extent that
Can we say like this? So we need at least one data person for every 100.
Look, our data infrastructure for a whole blockchain.com data infra team was 5 people. We had 80 million. We had 80 million users, 85 million users. This team managed to move everything from Postgre to the combination of BigQuery and Postgre within 6 months without losing anything, without any hindrance. Our cloud bill decreased 10 times. Our query time. Query time decreased 100 times. It's the first time I saw that your speed increased 100 times and your cost decreased 10 times. Never seen that in the.
Because of the efficiency of the queries.
Well, because the previous infrastructure was very bad.
Okay.
That's why they
that's huge.
That's why they hired me. It wasn't bad because bad people build it, but the company is relatively old. Well, for a crypto company, it's super old. It was founded in 2011, so for a crypto company it's like
okay.
And by 2022 obviously what's been built back then wasn't adequate, but again 5 people, 85 million users, full scale migration, very very heavy. So really depends.
Depends on the industry. I agreed. Yeah. So.
But what I can tell you that there are many companies that have too many people.
Okay.
Doing the engineering data for a variety of reasons. Again,
data infrastructure.
Sometimes it's harder to hire proper people, or they're too expensive. You think, they're too expensive, but instead of hiring someone whom you paid twice, you hire 4 people, and eventually paying twice more than to that. So there are many or legacy. Or bad processes, so it's hard to answer. I've seen again 5 people managing a company valued $14 billion.
Right.
Heavy data related company.
Very transactional. That's cool.
Okay, so that's.
Yeah, love it. Is there anything a 500-person company realistically can learn from big tech decision making? This is question number 1. And from other side, and is there anything it should never copy? If I'm like 100 and 500 person company and I'm watching head of data from Meta, what should I copy from them, and what I shouldn't.
I think Meta is actually quite good to copy because the culture of being autonomous and accountable is something you can actually transfer to your own. Okay, what to learn from them? You can learn a lot from their stages. Then they were growing a lot, and they still growing a lot, right? If you have a company which managed to grow 30% a year for 10 years,
Uh, so you mean like infrastructure is very scalable?
it's not on infrastructure. What processes you had? What helped you to? Because okay, growing 30% year over year meant that you managed to keep that flexibility to continue to grow.
Okay.
So what helped you in terms of process, whether that's flexibility in infrastructure or the way you structured your
Yeah,
organization,
like team.
a team. So again, the question is how specialized you need to be compared to, let's say, Meta.
Okay.
Do you need to have generalists or do you need to have people who are very deep into the specifics? So actually, this is something I think this is there is no one single answer. I think this is where these companies need to bring someone who can help them to design
Yeah.
what the good data organization looks to them and what good engineering organization looks to them.
That's I'm curious. Just can we apply the same culture and the same approach of independent team members to the from the Meta to the British Petroleum, for example?
Well, we were speaking about 500 people
Ah, yeah, yeah.
company.
Sorry for that. Yeah, let's go
Again,
back.
obviously, to have any, the bigger the company,
Yeah,
the harder it is to change anything.
that's
That's
true.
by definition.
Yeah,
So, but you explicitly asked me about 500 people company.
500.
So
Let's say
500 people company is actually a company where you can change a lot.
yeah.
So it is
If you
still it is
wish,
big
yeah,
company, but it's still relatively small for signal
yeah,
to go through layers.
yeah,
So yes, you can apply a lot of changes. If it's 50,000 people,
yeah.
it's very
That's
hard
okay.
because the bigger it is, the more inertia it has.
Okay, what 500 person company shouldn't copy from the Meta? Salaries.
No, sellers they might copy because again, sometimes having I prefer to have a smaller team. I think having smaller team is a huge advantage because the smaller your team, the less overhead you have.
Right.
Because number of connections between people grow as a power of two.
Yeah.
So adding
Yeah.
every
Yeah. That's
extra
true.
person is and if you have 10 people, what do you need? You need a manager. If you have 10 manager, what do you need? You need a senior manager. So
That's right.
you create layers. So and then accountability kind of dilutes
Right.
the more
Right.
people you have. So maybe so Meta had a very consistent choice. Meta decided, okay, we'll pay top 95 percentile. We'll force people to do everything, make them autonomous and
Right.
anxious.
Yeah. I
But
think.
but what not to copy from companies like Meta is maybe you don't need to have two specialized functions because
Mm,
you might have too many specialized you probably don't need developers productivity function
right.
in
Okay. Very specific. Very
yes, yes,
very focused.
right.
Okay.
Or
That's
maybe again one other thing, you probably, if you're not size of the Meta, you don't need Meta's career ladder
like.
because you can say, okay, in our company we don't need people who are like more qualified than a staff data engineer.
Right.
We don't need principal data engineer level because we're not crunching petabytes of data.
Okay.
We don't
Yeah.
have this. So, like, sorry, like we like this is our terminal level. This is our progressions.
Right.
This is what
Okay.
we need. So being honest to what you need. You don't always need best in the world.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Making measure business decisions often implies uncertainty. How to determine what sort of data one needs to make the right choice. I think the best way to rephrase it, how to be sure that I have everything to make this decision.
Can never be 100% sure. Well, again,
First of all, you shouldn't be like
that's why you live. That's why
yeah.
we live in a world of uncertainty. Well, the first answer: hire professionals. They'll do that for you. Like there are ways to check and double check. okay, let's start from a far away.
Okay.
When I interview people for data analyst position,
Right.
there is a very nasty question I like to answer.
Yeah.
Not to answer, to ask. And the question is the following: is it your final answer? And sometimes, and
What
even
is the best answer on
no,
this
no,
question?
even the answer is correct. Okay, is it your final answer? And then there are people who I literally had a case, and the person changed his answer 4 times. Is it your final answer? Oh no, that was completely opposite. Okay, is it your final answer? Oh no, this one. So I thought, okay. So why didn't you ask yourself? Is it my final answer? Why do I provide this answer? So in a sense, you are confident if there is nothing you can do to prove you're wrong. You already tested everything. It turned out that's the best decision.
Yeah. So it means so this is so it means that there is no bad decisions. So again, so
No,
you
there are bad decisions, but there wasn't a better decision.
that
There
time.
was nothing you could have done to change the decision. It
Yeah.
still could have been a bad decision,
So it's still a bad decision, but
but based on assumption, yeah. So
based on the
you
assumption
still
and environment
allocated
that you have.
resources in incorrect way. It's a bad
Right.
decision.
Right.
But the
That
question
time.
is, did you have enough time or enough opportunity? Could you have done anything else to change it?
Yeah.
If no, it's no. Like for example, sometimes there are like I watch MMA. There are fighters and they train and they come to the fight night and
Yeah.
they lose and they say, look, camp was great. I've done everything. There is nothing else I could have done.
Yeah.
But if you and that's actually quite easy to accept
Yeah.
your loss in that case compared to, oh, you know what, I skipped like every other training and I didn't keep my diet. Then okay, so you kind of, okay, there were things I could have changed.
Right.
So
Cool. Love it. Love it. How do you see AI changing the way decisions are made now? Like, let's say 3 years and 5.
I think that, like, if AI, and it's doing that to an extent already, would make many changes cheaper. So let's take a simple example. Let's take a situation where we have, let's say, a website or digital business, and
100 people inside.
yeah, and and we usually run A/B tests to see
Right.
the outcomes of changes or how our customers love the new features. So let's say a quite simple example,
Right.
right? So previously, and probably still, one of the most expensive things in digital business are salaries for people working there, right?
True.
So meaning that, okay, if it costs you 1 month of 10 software engineers to create a feature,
Yeah.
then there is
That's bad.
regret if this feature didn't work out.
Right.
Now, if you can do the same in a week, your regret goes down,
Yeah.
right? Because you spend less time.
Yeah.
You can test more features. You can decrease your level of confidence because they're now cheaper. So you can produce more features. So in a sense, that means that our regret with AI
Would-
can go down, or there would be many more decisions we can make because because
within the same period of time.
yeah, if we
Right.
take the framework, decisions allocating resources. If AI would provide us with more resources, that means we need to allocate more resources. That
So we will need to allocate
yeah,
less resources
yes,
with AI versus
yes.
without AI. Okay, so the I want to say revolution of AI, but the value of the AI is that help us to move faster and to spend less for growth, right?
And to an extent, we can make things again if it increases our productivity. In some cases, it does that.
Yeah,
So that means we can do more. We can be to an extent less rigorous. We can reduce our confidence level,
right.
and that's okay because again, it has to be a conscious decision.
The-
So, for example, if I can churn out only 4 features a month, or if I can do 40 features a month, do I still need the same confidence level?
yeah,
Maybe yes, maybe not. Again, if I'm pretty confident that I at least not negative,
right.
right? So now, because there are 3 scenarios, like the positive change, the negative change, no change.
Right.
Well, it's kind of much easier to live in a world where you are okay with no change as well,
Okay.
and you are not okay with negative change,
Right. Okay.
compared to the world where you're okay only with a positive change. So if you're okay with both positive and neutral change,
Yeah.
you can reduce your confidence level.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I see. Finally, I can regret less with AI in my life.
Well, probably.
But
It doesn't apply
but
to you.
it
It doesn't
doesn't feel
apply
like
to your
this,
past
unfortunately.
life.
So
Yeah.
everyone is like, it looks like there is more stress with AI because of the speed. I think
There is more
we,
stress for the very simple reason. In the past, the,
the speed of changes was different.
I have another theory on that. So in the past, where, well, if you work in software engineering or like let's say in IT, in engineering, data science, analytics, you had an opportunity to think while doing the work. So you're writing SQL code, you can think during that. But writing SQL
Right.
code is like a meditation.
Right.
You're writing the code, you could think about that. Now, if you delegate this process to agents, first, your thought process is very compressed. At the beginning, you need to design, you need to
Right.
provide artifacts, the structure, etc. But then your implementation process is very short. It's very dense, and now you receive a result. You need to think again. So the amount of thinking,
You need to
of
think
high
more.
density
Everyone.
thinking,
Yeah.
is so compressed, and that's the hardest. So because you can't think all the time, it's very, very, very energy
Yeah, yeah,
consuming.
that's consumer. Yeah, very. That's interesting. So you need to think more with AI
To an extent, you
within
if you
the
want
working
to do
day,
more, you would have to think more, unfortunately, and that's very. It
and this is
applies.
why it's
Yeah,
stressful.
it's a huge toll. So to an extent, there was this analogy that everybody is now a manager,
Yeah,
but not everybody.
of agents,
But not
of
but not
agents.
everybody can be a manager. Being manager is a very stressful job,
Right.
and it applies a very high toll on your mental health. Not everybody can keep up with that. So
Yeah.
I think that we need to be very cautious and see how AI, how detrimental it might be to our mental health, in a
That's
sense,
true.
because it will create an overload of specific activities which we are not designed to be
Right.
in constant thinking process.
Yeah. Yeah. What we can see, like, um, I- the most stressful part in business for managers mostly is the responsibility, but uncertainty. The
Uncertainty,
more
yeah.
uncertainty you have, the more stressful your
Hmm.
work is. And because of AI makes our like workflows faster, it makes our workflows number of changes, we have more changes, and the work and the future becomes more like unpredictable. And this is why it's so stressful, because some time ago we have an idea to build a concept of stressful less business when it can be completely autonomous. When you just make, let's just imagine that you're a manager and you need to make decisions. You make decision like a Tinder. Just imagine that Tinder, but with the decisions. Yes or no. Yes or no. Yes or no. This is the concept that
Well, again, the decision they will
like. This is the
stress
job of the manager, because
stressless.
all stuff behind is made by AI. So it's prepared data and
Well,
suggestion options.
yeah, if you can replace everybody apart from decision making, then probably yes. Um,
But yeah,
what a dreadful future.
yeah. So this is madness.
You just described the anti-utopia.
I'm afraid of it. So yeah, but it. Yeah, okay. Let's go. Let's move forward. It's too dramatic. Are there parts of decision making that will remain human even as AI becomes more capable?
But you just already described it, like taking the responsibility, because what you said, the manager is making the decision, yes, no,
Yeah,
but because that's taking responsibility, accountability. Someone has to be accountable.
Yeah, because AI can is
Well, technically, if you that depends on the legal definition of AI. Maybe we will
one day.
grant AI rights and a
Yeah,
bank account, and
doctors. Yeah,
so
medicine,
then
surgeons.
then AI can be jailed or erased or fined.
That's funny.
Because why not?
I think you still need you still need somebody like
At the moment.
at the moment to
At
be
the moment.
responsible.
At
But
the
how
moment.
it can change? So
Like
you
literally, what
it,
literally?
it's I think it really depends on the
There is a writer, Ian Banks, who created this series called Culture, where both people and AI live together, have rights. So like,
I
so
think this is just a question of now you are not able to you cannot I can say trust AI because
well, you can trust AI, but that's up on you.
it's up to you.
It's up to you.
It's up to you.
So again, it's a
It's
matter. It's a matter of legality. Yeah. Okay. They
it's just
don't
a
have to
question of
be.
the probability of the mistake that if AI will be sufficient enough to
Well, technically, who prevents you to trust just a toss of the coin? You can create a mechanism that tosses the coin, and everybody, okay, we have to trust the mechanism. That's a process.
okay.
Okay, who is punished if it's wrong?
Yeah. What should happen, like in the tech world, to change the case when you can start trust, you can delegate responsibility to the AI versus
Well,
person
why we delegate responsibility to other people? Because they have stake in the game, and
because you can fire him.
because they have stake in the game.
Yeah,
Firing, it means you lose the
yeah,
job, you lose the source of
yeah. This is what I
income,
mean.
that you have something to lose, and that motivates you not to do that. So you kind of know that
Right.
you have both incentive to do that and motivation not to
Not to
do
do that.
that.
Yeah, not to do bad things.
What we're talking about is agency and motivation.
Yeah.
So an ability to pay in terms of fees or maybe jail time.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, what needs to be done? Two things. You need to be able to motivate AI so it will pay more attention, and you need to be able to extract something from AI in case
Right.
it's
Yeah.
did something wrongly.
So
But again, extraction is a kind of a negative motivation, right?
okay, we need insurance.
So okay, let's say if you do
if
something wrongly, you would be, let's say, for example, if you harm
OpenAI
the
will be will pay you
if
for
you
that.
harm a person,
Yeah.
you might be jailed.
That's
So
fine.
that's two reasons for that: to isolate society from you, to protect society from you doing that again, and to punish you so other people would be detracted to do this again, right? So in a sense, so that means there are two things why what is in accountability is being able to detract people from doing that or incentivizing them for doing that. So one, and two, in case someone has done that, we can isolate this, and so this won't happen again.
Yeah, it looks like that we just
The
need a
problem with
Claude with insurance.
the problem
And
with
this is
AI is that it is literally always the same, so you can't even isolate it.
from what?
Now, what I'm saying is that if the even Claude Code did something wrong, like you still have other 10 million copies of Claude Code in the world, so you can't just jail this bad Claude Code. You jail. Now we can have a discussion. Maybe every Claude Code is unique because it's based on the prompt and
My-
context it
Yeah,
received.
my point
and
is like just imagine that we have a new pricing plan with a Claude plus insurance. If
Yeah.
it harms, so they will pay to the company.
Yeah. So again, there is we can
That's
easily
funny.
sit here for 30 minutes and imagine a mechanism to do that. So why not?
Other types of decisions that should not be based on data alone.
Well, the again, the classic example is iPhone, right? It's like, and some people are saying, oh, having the taste is a new meta skill,
Okay.
which is questionable.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes like again, data is about usually incremental, iterative improvements.
Right.
If you have a breakthrough, it's a breakthrough. Like nobody had an iPhone, now
Yeah.
iPhone appeared. So what data? Like I said, you would like it. Trust me. Then Apple Vision came and it was a blip.
Okay.
or flop.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it
Some,
doesn't.
that's
So
cool.
yeah, data is more about incremental improvements.
And it's learning, yeah. That's so you mean like average AI so all ideas of AI is average.
At the moment,
Yeah, it's
again, we
average.
want to
Yeah.
come back to AI, right? So if we talk about, I review AI at the moment. It looks like a very knowledgeable, mediocre person.
Okay.
So yes, because it's like an average.
Yeah, it's very average.
It's very average,
So
which is okay, expected
yeah,
based on the way it's being trained. But that's very average.
but average, yeah, is some in the most case average is better than
Sometimes, yeah,
than
again,
below the average.
in
Yeah,
it's a very knowledgeable
average person.
average person.
That's funny and cheap comparing to the to the.
It depends. I've heard a company that spent $500 million on Cloud Code recently. So, and I've seen some bills for Cloud Code. So it depends.
It depends. Okay. If you joined a 500-person company tomorrow, what would be the first things you would examine to understand, like how are decisions actually made there, and whether they are good or what data stack do they have?
You already described. I would check what metrics different, let's say, C-level people monitor.
Yeah,
I will try to find overlap between these metrics, and I would expect it would have some overlap.
yeah,
I would try to see how these metrics defined. Probably I'll
right,
find that they define differently. So basically, how the data flows,
right.
because you need to trust your foundations. If you okay, you can. Good question is to ask what is our revenue. If you hear very different answers, that's okay.
Yeah. This is always what we
What
have.
is our revenue?
Or
Okay, and you see, oh, our
the,
revenue is 2 million. Oh, actually 3. Our revenue is 4 million.
no, like the most common question, the most common case that we have is like with sales. Well, for example, it's B2B business, and should we calculate sales by the amount of invoices we sent or paid, or like should we cover refunds or something? This is the that's so okay. You will start with the metrics, right? So
Metrics,
metrics.
because metrics will drill. But they open me both ways to the ingestion point and
Okay.
metrics definition, and then to the decisions making. Right?
Okay. So how aligned these metrics are
Yeah,
across the
how align,
company?
how they define, how they calculate. But then, okay, why do you monitor these metrics? Is it important for you to improve them?
Yeah.
Then ideally you would like to have a metrics hierarchy in the company to see how metrics are interconnected.
Right.
Because usually it's very hard to move your top line metrics, but then you go deeper, you find out,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, these metrics being affected by these 5 metrics, and this metric is in red zone, so we need to improve it.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Maybe also what is helpful is to build a customer journey map.
right.
Whatever, again, depends on the nature of your business, but if you have data and you can do that, it's a very, very useful exercise to build a customer journey map and to see the transitions between different states where your customer churns, etc.
Yeah.
So for example, in one company, it was a very big, a very well-known company, we found out that 25% of transactions fails in the pay zone,
Okay.
which is like
Disaster.
not
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah. By the way, we had a talk, and I want to ask you, like previously, and I want to ask this question to you as well. So, why do you think? So, there are so many businesses that use Excel for the data storage, data modeling, like and analytics and reporting, right? But some of them switch into, let's say, CRMs, ERPs, or something. Why they should move from Excel to some system? Why
I'll give.
we can use Excel
I
for.
wouldn't answer this directly. I will provide an analogy.
Okay.
If you, instead of having a chicken rice, you will go to McDonald's and have a Happy Meal, and you do that once, it would be probably okay.
Yeah, the same.
If you do that every day, you'll see results in 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
So Excel is okay as a short-term solution. Over the time, the complexity and the accumulated amount of errors due to this and an efficiency will be much higher than any immediate gains due to that. It's a tool I can go and work with quickly instead of logging in CRM or integrating CRM.
Like cumulative amount of
Yeah,
mistakes are
that's what we
growing.
call scalability, right?
Yeah.
Excel is not scalable.
Okay.
If you're a one-person business, even if you're one-person business, over the time it becomes hard to work with Excel for a variety of reasons.
For example.
Well, it for example grows so big that it takes minutes to load
Yeah.
and
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Nice. Say you found out. So say you found out the system has room for improvement. Something wrong. How do you determine what exactly the problem is? Let's say we have a drop in sales.
That's a very vague question, to be honest, to
No.
answer that. Again, in ideal world, if you have a metrics hierarchy, again, what is the metrics hierarchy? It's you have different levels of metrics. So your top line metric might be revenue and profit.
Right.
Or let's say profit. So what is a profit? Profit is revenue minus expenses, taxes, whatnot. Of course, you can have gross profit, net profit, etc. Okay, how's your revenue be? Like, what affects your revenue? Number of active users, like average revenue per user. Okay, what have been affected by number of users? Let's say it's number of users registered, and attrition. Okay, what affects attrition? Or turn out that if latency is or number of errors per page, and you see, okay, number of errors per page is high, it directly affects our number of our attrition, you fix that. So you have this hierarchy where you can see how one set of metrics affect another set of metrics, and you can see, okay, as soon as you have drop in sales, what affects our sales? So what is the source of that?
Okay.
The drop of sales because of what? Because our average revenue dropped?
Yeah, because
number of SKUs in cart dropped, number of purchases dropped, but the average revenue remained the same. So what exactly? So you go down because again the purchase is a composite metric. Sorry, revenue is a composite metric, or number of sales is a composite metric. There are plenty of ways to change it.
Okay, one more vague question. Now you have a month to improve decision making. I feel like we're playing like a game.
What is this? Is an interview?
Yeah. This is like a podcast. I'm on the podcast. Now you have a month to improve decision making inside a 500 employee software as a service company in the US market. What would your plan look like? It's like an interview. Is it your final answer?
So I need to improve decision making process in 500.
Yeah.
Okay. So three things which are relatively easy, probably relatively easy and quick to do, are to build customer journey map to see where we have problems, unexpected transitions. Again, the transition, you go here, and suddenly you see a huge drop there. Second is the metric definitions. Do we define metrics in the same way? Because again, it's would be very helpful. And the third one would be, again, metrics hierarchy. You can see they're all based on the same. Because if you don't have much time, let's try to understand if we at least approach the same problem, because we're trying to solve the different problems.
Yeah. We need to align first,
And where do we have the, again, is it easier to solve a huge leak? If something is completely broken, it's usually easier. Let's say what I'm saying is that if you have 5 stages in your process and 4 of them are more or less okay, they're not ideal, you can improve them, but one is terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
Where do you need to go to? What do you need to fix, right? So this is where customer journey map would help you, metrics hierarchy would help you, and metrics definitions would help you. This is where I would go.
Is it your final answer?
That's my final answer. The good thing is that there is no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Context,
but you need to be sure, just
But I just provided my reasoning behind that. So
So that's fair. Finally, what helps you understand that the decision quality is improving over time? Do you think there is a metric that define decision quality? Can we create a dashboard with the decision quality across the company of 500 people?
Well, there are 2 different questions. The question, your second question was, can we create a dashboard or monitor the decision quality? Your first one, can we see that it improved?
Yeah, but
you see the difference between improving and monitoring.
Yeah, if it's growing, it's improving.
No, like improving, you can see a change.
Yeah.
Now we can see a proxy change. So, for example, I would expect that if we change the process and we actually affected that, we either would increase the amount of initiatives we decided not to proceed with,
Okay.
either probably decrease. Because
Okay.
I'll give you an example. So many years ago, I worked in the company and I asked them, okay, what's the percentage of your successful initiatives? And they said 95%. Well, if it's 95%, doesn't make sense even to test. All your initiatives are successful. Just roll it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? So like,
You have things to do.
like,
Yeah.
like there is nothing to test.
Yeah,
It's already
there
ideal.
is nothing to
So,
change.
and
Yeah.
after we introduced the proper decision-making process, it dropped down to 15 or 20%.
What was the difference? So what have you
Because it turned
changed?
out most of these initiatives are not generating anything. We started to measure them.
You just started to measure
Yeah, we
that.
just started to measure and turned out they're not generating anything. And that's like, again, suddenly that started to make sense because like you would expect if all of them were successful, the company would be growing exponentially and it didn't.
Okay. So
So you would expect usually, again, that's a lot of caveats here, but if there is no decision process, that means all initiatives are kind of successful
okay.
most of the time.
So let's try to draw the page of the report with the overview of the quality of the decision-making process. So it should be number of
Well,
initiatives.
you still can continue to measure the ratio of failed initiatives compared to initiatives we tried.
Okay, number plus
Ratio, let's say ratio.
number. Okay, number. Yeah, ratio like
Between
succeeded,
failed and let's say succeeded and all.
succeeded and all. Okay, versus all.
Yes.
Should we count should we count just number or can we evaluate it somehow?
Well, again, it depends what is our decision-making process. In the simple case, if we run an A/B test, we can at least see if
That it's increased or decreased.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So I'm just trying.
And there is another thing. For example, if you run a question for you, almost an interview.
Mhm,
So
okay.
let's say you run 100 A/B tests,
Right.
and your false positive rate is 5%,
Right.
and it turned out that 10% of your tests are positive.
Right. But we calculate.
What percentage of your positive tests are actually false?
But do we calculate number or we calculate like number of tests or
You can of course then calculate the potential gain, but let's say a situation. Let's say you run 100 tests,
yeah.
and your system tells you, okay, 10 of them have significant improvement, statistically significant improvement.
Right.
You also know that you work on 95% false positive rates.
Right.
That means out of these 10,
Right.
5 are false positives. That means
Right.
half of your successful tests are actually
Actually, so we can trust. You mean like
yeah,
so
just half of them are actually doing
yeah,
anything.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
it makes sense to trust 5% versus 10.
so now you can also create a metric. Okay, what's the percentage of overall our tests we can trust?
Yeah.
And if it's like 10% or 90%, also can tell you something.
Yeah, I got your point, but yeah, I'm always trying to when we talk to customers, I'm trying to concept the perfect decision making interface. So again, like a Tinder, right? Or like you have a amount of the size of the decision.
Eventually, you can also calculate how much money the proper decision-making process generated you. If you're able to compare that to your previous baseline. Okay, for example, without the previous decision-making process, we would continue with these decisions, which we would spend or allocations or project, which would spend this amount of money, would generate us nothing. We would miss this, which generated us that amount of money. So you actually can that's a bit more complex, but much better because it's eventually it converts everything to the metric everybody understands, which is money.
Okay.
If you can tell, okay, our decision-making process help us to generate 25 million extra, that's kind of easy to understand.
Give me an example of perfectly formulated decision, let's say, which is accountable. Just give me an example based on like sales or something. So
Well, I'm trying to recall the definition I provided in my book, but we have a hypothesis that because of X, our revenue will grow by Y.
Yeah.
So we conducted an experiment E for that amount of time. We noticed that improvement, which coincides with our preliminary hypothesis. Then we run a reverse experiment, which also confirmed that. and this is the result. So this is like you have what is good here. You have the full chain of thought.
Right.
Like, why did you even decided to try that?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to test that? What were
Right.
results? How confident you are in these results?
Right.
And
Cool.
a signature.
Yeah. And succeed. Love it. Looking back at companies you worked at, what decision-making practices are the wildest ones and the wisest ones?
Well, wildest ones were whatever company I'll mention. It's not the company I'm working in right now, so I will exclude the company I'm working in right now
Okay.
from any discussion. I think that's
Yeah.
fair. The wildest one was where you have, let's say, a CEO or owner, or like
Right.
the person highs in rank. So I won't tell you the company, making decisions worth hundreds of millions of dollars without
Okay.
any analytics behind it.
Just
Yes.
gut feeling.
Yeah. Let's go there. Let's
Yes.
do that.
Gut feeling
Yeah.
driven business.
Yes. Didn't work out.
Yeah. We that's funny because we work with a few churches in the US with them like millions and millions and millions of uh, let's say donation revenue and what and the and they started with a gut feeling.
Again, there is a trap
But now it's very data driven
yes,
business.
because you if it's a trap of the founder or CEO. You grew up the business. That means you were right most of the times.
Yeah.
But at some point, it's becoming so big and so complex. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
different
yeah.
thing.
That's
Because it's also the survivalship bias. Because 99 other businesses died,
yeah,
so that you haven't died and managed to thrive is not because you're genius. Maybe you are, but maybe you just were to an extent lucky and you managed to do the right decisions. But no guarantee that you continue to do that. You won't join this 99 others.
that's funny. That's funny because yeah, even church, they switch from the gut feeling driven business to the data driven business,
Yes.
and I'm waiting when one day I will say that AI helps church to grow. Cool. What's the belief about decision making you held some time ago but no longer believe?
There is temptation. Again, I will simplify the situation. I will drill down. A/B test is just a golden standard, but it's
Yeah.
not the whole decision making. There are a variety of different methods and the whole areas of studies. But let's say I had a temptation. I had this belief that like A/B test is like the only thing that can tell you what to do.
Okay.
Well, A/B test is actually just an instrument that provides you an information. You can use it. So give you an example. Let's say we run an A/B test,
Right.
and it showed no significant difference
Right.
between option A and B.
Yeah.
But an average in option B is still higher than an option A.
Okay.
What does it tell you? So in classical approach, you would say we don't do anything, we don't change, we need to run another one, or like
Yeah,
there
yeah,
is
yeah.
no effect. But if you think about that a bit deeper, all information you have still is telling you that B has a high chance of being better.
Right.
Because at least average is
Yeah.
higher, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And to an extent,
Okay.
now what's the cost of switching from A to B?
Right. Okay.
And that's very connected to, again, what we discussed, the cost of change or regret, right? If your regret is lower,
Yeah.
you can reduce your confidence because you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Well, again, that's a classic theory, because if you think about that further, you're actually not reducing your regret, because if your regret is lower, but you reduce the confidence, you still maintain the same regret, right?
Yeah.
But that's basically the levers you have. You can maintain your regret constant, and if your cost of experiment is lower, you can just reduce your confidence, and it's still the constant.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. To you personally, what's the most irritating part of decision making?
Well, the most irritating part is that you have to destroy other people's hopes, because most of the initiatives and
Hopes?
yes,
Yeah, that's funny.
because okay, we tried something, we thought it would work, it didn't work. You have to Again, like if we had 95% of successful initiatives and now it's 20,
Yeah.
that means 75%.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a service which is called data therapy because it just helps some founders or CEOs to be like closer to the ground and have less hope,
But
unfortunately.
convince people that actually what they
But
hope.
the value is huge at the end.
Well, yes, again, because you're not investing to something that wouldn't
Yeah, yeah,
work,
yeah,
even if you like
yeah,
that. But
yeah,
still,
yeah,
people invested in what they've done, and that's
yeah, yeah. That's funny because sometimes the hope is so strong, and so you show data, you show dashboards, but people
yeah,
make decisions
yes, yes.
that go against
Yes.
the data that they have, and this is more like psychological part. Okay, irritating part is clear, and what's the most beautiful one when it comes to the decision making? What is the
When it
beauty?
play,
What is the beauty
when
of
it played
the
out, when you made a bet and
and
it played out, and you were right, especially when other people thought you were wrong.
so the more probability to lose,
Ah,
but you mean the better is the more beautiful
well,
decision is.
I've heard that what makes us happy is not what we receive, but what we receive compared to what we
Yeah,
expected
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
receive.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in that case, yes.
Okay.
To prove other people wrong.
Yeah, okay. This is what we do, like a data people. We just help uh, proper people to prove they're right
Or wrong.
or wrong. Okay, I think this
Well,
is the
sometimes knowing when you're wrong is more precious than knowing when you're right,
okay.
because it also helps you to improve.
Yeah, because
If you always receive only the positive feedback or negative feedback, it's much
yeah,
harder.
because data never lies. Cool. Thank you, Valerie,
Thank you.
for
Thank you for
coming.
inviting me.
Cheers.